Okay, I'm back. I don't know what was up with that. I guess, they just don't allow you to talk on that at all. But I've been in those situations enough that I can sit here and I can tell you about it without having to show videos on it. Um, when it comes to being locked up, what you saw there, it's a lot of violence. It is a lot of violence, and things tend to be very volatile very quickly. And if you're not aware of it, you're going to get caught up in it, and you could be hurt if you're working in that environment, whether you be a prison guard, whether you be a therapist, whether you be medical, any of that stuff. You get caught up in it, and before you know, you're getting hurt because people do not respect their boundaries. They don't respect the situations in which they're being housed. I guess it was copyrighted. I thought that you could stream it just like normal stuff, but I guess not. Um, the guards where I worked at, they did carry mace. They had they had the ability to use pepper balls, which would spray gas that would stop riots and fights and things like that. But most of the time, you had to uh, you had to go through the situation hand to hand. They teach you how to defend yourself in the 30-day um, training that they give you, and they give all the people training, not just the officers. They give anybody that's working in the prison. They give you the training, and they they teach you how to defend yourself. As far as the jail's concerned, what I've learned as far as jails are concerned is they're a lot more volatile because you can't move around. You can't move around as freely as you can in the prison. At least in the prison, you can go out to rec, you can go to work, you can go to the library, you can go to classes, you can do all kinds of stuff like that. Well, when you're locked up in the county jail, you're stayed locked up. They might have a common area, a very small common area where, like you saw them playing cards, you can play dominoes while you're waiting, chow or to be fed, or to go to. If you're a trustee, you can usually mop, sweep. You can clean up around the jail. You can hand out mail. Um, you can do things of that magnitude, but you're still locked up. You might be able to be on the maintenance squad where you can go outside, you can cut grass, you can, clean up the yards, you can throw trash, you can be a part of those crews, but you have to make it up to level of trustee. You just can't go in there as a violent offender and be able to be let out. You know, well, I'm sorry that it did that. I deleted that stream so people don't get confused. Um, so the last part that we ended on that video was the commissary officer. He every week or every 2 weeks you put in an order to the commissary and you get a sheet and it tells you all the items the commissary has and how much they cost. Your family or your loved ones can put money on your commissary account. It's usually done online. They can put money on your account up to $500, I think. I don't know how much it is in jail, but I know in prison it's up to 500, I think, in most places. And that's what you live on throughout the whole month if you don't want to eat the food that they serve in the jail or the prison. Well, what ends up happening is these offenders or inmates or whatever they're called in your area, um, they stock up on soups and things that you can cook with a hot pot, or you can boil it or whatever and make certain things out of it, certain food out of it. Um, or they even use the food for trafficking and trading, which if you don't have commissary, you can wash somebody's clothes for like 2 soups or a bag of coffee or something like that. Um, Let me show you the list. This is the prison one, but I'm pretty sure the jails are pretty much the same way. Um, Hello, Heather. Let me show you the list. So this would be one for the prison, but like I said, the jails are pretty much the same way. As you can see the prices on one side, what kind of items and how many of that items you need, and at the end you turn this in for the week, and they give you that at the end of the week. Let me see. And here is the example of some of the stuff that is in the commissary. As you saw the individual passing out food in the commissary, um, there are some of the items that you can get from the commissary. And as you can see, there's hot cocoa, there's multigrain bars, there's ramen noodle soups, there's crackers, there's, you can get cold medicine, you can get pretty much anything you can live on in commissary for a price. And like here's some of the items, you know, they're really upgrading it because most of the time you get off brand stuff, and this is a certain group that, you know, stocked the commissary for whatever area that they have the commissary at. I'm losing myself in here. Hold on a second. Hey, Absolute 13, thank you for being here. Do y'all have any questions so far on the commissary? See, like you can see right here, at the corner one, right here where my mouse is. This is what's called a hot pot. This little white thing right here, and you put water in it. You plug it in. It's kind of like a crock pot, but it heats up water, and you can stick noodles in there. You can stick all kinds of stuff to make a concoction to heat it up, and that's what you eat. And like a soup, like in it's all together like a soup derivative, and you can buy shoes in there, you can buy boots, you can you can have all those things that you can buy from the commissary. I mean, there's different variations. See the Coke cans, there's the ramen noodles. You can buy, eggs, dill pickles, brownie mix, because you get the brownie mix, you stick it in the water and you let it harden with the creamer, and then you get whatever it is. Yeah, if you don't have any money, what you do is basically you eat the jail food, or you can do certain chores for other inmates, you know, and they might give you a couple of soups for for um for you doing their laundry for them or doing their chore for them or whatever. And you traffic and trade. They have coffee. They have, pretty much everything you can get at a dollar store is what you can get at a commissary. See, you have the tortillas, you have the Idaho potatoes, you have the tuna packs. You can get, Maxwell coffee. Some of them have, coffee bags that aren't name brand. Of course, you can get the chicharrones, you can get the cookies, the cans with the beans in them, the Velveeta cheese. And they put all this stuff together. It's what they call a spread. So if you don't have money to get any of this stuff while you're in jail, then you eat the prison food. Um, which this stuff is high dollar stuff when you're talking about being locked up, and your people can put money or send, once you're in prison, they can send care packages. They could send you all this for like $150, and you'll get all this delivered to you on commissary day. And this is what you could have for the whole month, or you could have it for a couple of weeks, however long you make this food last. But as you can see, it's high in fat, high in carbohydrates, high in cholesterol, and all this stuff. So you might um you might be getting better food through this that you think, but your health is going to suffer unless you just stick to the tuna and the protein diet. And here's a guy, given their ID number or whatever, and here's the commissary stuff that he has money for. So he'll take this back to his cell in a bag, or he'll carry it without the bag, and you know they'll be able to put that in their locker. Know how you're allowed three boxes a year from home, as well as like a clothes box, a food box, and an arts and craft box. Okay, thank you for letting us know that. Yeah, all states are different. Like Texas, you can send books, but you have to buy the books from like the store, and the store has to ship them to the unit. And usually, when they're eating, this looks like a prison. This doesn't look like a jail, but this could be a jail. I mean, this is the little container that they put the food in when they serve you at the at the cafeteria line. They call it chow line. So you basically get whatever this would be. It looks like mashed potatoes. You get some kind of dessert. You get a drink, obviously. You get a couple slices of bread and something right here, maybe a couple chicken nuggets or something, and that's all you get till the next meal. And you have to make that last. Well, the basic prison meals, they either give you baked chicken a lot. They give you things that look like hamburger helper, but it's not. It's a cheap brand of noodles and some kind of meat. They eat a lot of chicken, a lot of pre-compressed chicken patties. Um, it's nothing fancy. They eat a lot of mashed potatoes, a lot of beans, a lot of easily stuff that you can boil. Stuff that you can make really, really fast. And obviously, if you're on the female units. They also supply female hygiene. So it's, people call it cruelty, but I've seen how some of these individuals in there, they eat better than some people out here. They have their families send them hundreds and hundreds of dollars to put on their books, so to speak. Yeah, like it says right here, 9.5 million self-sustaining business. At the prison that I worked at, it was $1 million a year industry for all the stuff that they bought off of commissary. Yeah, turkey, a lot of turkey. Well, you know, yeah, that's a good question right there. It says a lot of people gain weight because they weren't eating on the streets. Yeah, that's true. This is a good question. Why would it have to be crappy though? I used to eat in the prison ODR, which is um, officer's dining room, and I mean it wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. I mean, you're hungry, you're gonna eat what's in front of you. And what happened with these inmates is all of a sudden they get entitled. I'm not eating that. I eat better than that on the streets. Or this, I'm sure they got vegan meals because they have kosher food for individuals that can't eat beef or pork or any of that. So they have different types of diets, but these individuals get in there and they're too good to eat off the chow line and then tell their families they're starving me. I can't eat this crap. It's nasty. Well, I've heard people say if you don't like the food, don't get locked up. Don't break the law. I mean, and that makes a lot of sense. I'm not saying that I I agree with it, but it's kind of true. If you don't want to be in there having to eat what they have, don't break the law. Don't. I mean, it's not meant to be a resort. See, look, there's two breads. This looks like some kind of condensed meat that's made in a block. This looks like some kind of pudding. And that's what you eat for lunch. For breakfast, you could have oatmeal, a toast, maybe a couple peaches, maybe some jello, and a milk. Here's another one right here. See, it's like some kind of meat, bread, lettuce, and some kind of sweet bread. And here's some other ones that, I mean, during the holidays, they feed them really well. Um, so you get turkey and dressing and you get, better better food. I worked in Kentucky State Reformatory where they have death row. The food wasn't bad. Same company that delivered to the schools. Okay. Yeah, I mean I've eaten at places, in the prison and it pretty much looked like this. But when you're hungry and you get accustomed to eating this, to me, I'm not a picky eater. So you put this in front of me and I'm hungry, I'm going to eat what I feel tastes good. And I'm going to leave what I don't like. See, this looks like that grand biscuit, an apple, um, mashed potatoes, two of those cream cookies, broccoli, and some kind of meat concoction there. And here's another plate. Looks like beans, mixed vegetables, two eggs, another roll, cookies, and rice. I mean, there are different variations. It's not like they feed you the same thing, but there's that chili mac I was telling you about, and there's the beans, there's the cornbread, the sweet bread, and there's your drink. So when you're locked up, it's not meant to be, you know, a good place to be. This is what the cafeteria plates used to look like when I was in school. They gave you some kind of concoction like this: beans, a slice of cake, two things of butter, cornbread, and a jello. This is what they feed the students. So, I mean, it looks like the students get a little worse than the prisoners for some reason. This doesn't look appetizing, but you know what? I would eat it if I was hungry. I would not want to burden my family with having to send me hundreds and hundreds of dollars for commissary if I was getting fed, you know? What I wanted to show you right here, though, is to keep from having metal utensils. They call this a spork. It's a spoon with the little pokers right here, which is a fork. So you can use it as a fork and as a spoon all in one. These food trays, they don't look the best, but they don't look the worst. So that's what the food that comes off from the cafeteria would look like if you're lucky. It has pretty much the basic food groups. There's another one. This is prison food. And it's right. It's not just bread and water. People have their families convinced that they're being fed nothing but bread and water, beans, brownie looking thing, and some kind of tuna looking, carrots, and jello. I wouldn't eat the carrots because I'm not a big carrot eater. Yeah, you would have to make it work or you go hungry. And that's one thing that a lot of individuals don't really understand is, they forget they're in jail. This is one. It's a jail stock photo or a prison stock photo, and look how little the bed is, and look at the mattress. You got a little desk usually, and you have a toilet, but this one doesn't have a toilet. A lot of them don't have toilets anymore because they clog up the toilets or they pass contraband through the toiletry system. See how little that mattress is? And this is where you get all your water. This is where you get your cooking water. This is where you drink from. This is where, they don't have a shower. Do you really want to know? Oh, okay. Got to make it work. Yeah, you're right. My dad said fish heads and rice. Yeah, if I got hungry enough, that's probably what I'd eat too. Did I have workout equipment? I'll show you the yard here in a minute. Let me show you some more of these inmate cells. These are the more modern ones. See, they have a metal door that shuts, and they have a opening here in case you become belligerent. They just hand your food tray through this, and they shut it, so you can't have any contact with them at all. There's the water container thing. Your sink. Here's your little desk, and here's your beds. Here's a metal thing that's kind of screwed into the wall where you can't use it as a weapon, but you use it to shave in, to fix your hair, shave, things like that. Um, Let me show you this person. And they say this is a 5-star jail, which it looks like. They got a table, a plastic chair. She's sitting in her bunk, got the little window to look out of. There's somebody that usually sleeps above you. You hang up your clothes. You have a lot and that's the thing. If you really don't like people, Imagine being in a cell like this, watching your roommate use the bathroom. You know, in the country I live in, the jail used to be a top floor. They would plug the toilet, and flood the. Yeah, that's why they've taken a lot of the toilets out of the jails cells. See, this doubles as a sink and as a toilet. So you're basically using the toilet the same place you wash your face. And you say that's gross, that's nasty, but you're going to do what you need to do, right? I mean, I wouldn't want to go to jail or prison. This is a prison cell. It's not much different. It's smaller. Everything that they buy is clear like this, so you can't hide contraband in there. Everything has to be put up. You can't have anything out. Everything has to be put up in a place. You can't have towels hanging. You can't have sheets hanging down. You can't, you have to have it pretty neat. And here's another prison cell with a couple of inmates in there. So you get pretty close to the individuals who you're locked up with because there's not a lot of room to move around. You know, this is the old school. But I'm sure they still have some of these right here as far as jails are concerned as well. They have the bed right here, and these lights stay on 24/7. Your lights in your cell might go off, but these stay on. And the same thing in a dorm. Like these are one man cells or two-man cells. When you stay in a dorm, it's like one big open room, and you have all these bunk beds. Here in Texas, anyways, they have dorms. Let me see if I can. Okay, this is what a dorm might look like. See how you basically just have your bed, it's wide open. Here's your box where you store your stuff, but you can see and hear everything that's going around here. And this is your little area right here. That's not what I was talking about, but this is some of the females are like that. Their dorms like this. Yeah, this is kind of like what I was talking about. They're bunk beds, and this is how close you are, and you're confined in like a warehouse area here in Texas, and it's hot, and there's usually just fans that are blowing. You don't have air conditioning. It could be at 107 outside, and it's 115 in here, and all they have is these fans blowing on you. So you got to be dressed like this at all times in the prison. See, just like this. And, you know, that's your life 24/7 in prison. You might go to work, you might go out to the fields. As you can see, they got the fans here. They got the fans in the wall that are blowing the heat out, or they're blowing air in. But it doesn't matter what you have, you know what dry heat feels like. And in the winter, obviously, if it's hot like this in winter, think of what it feels like in the summer, it's hot like this. Think of what it feels like in the winter. I mean, just a big old warehouse. These have tables right here where you can sit and eat, play games. This would be the day area. Usually there's TVs. There's like three TVs. One's for sports, one's for like game shows, and one's for like soap opera type stuff. and usually certain people run the TVs. So you might not get to watch what you want to watch. I mean, look at this. These lights stay on, or they might dim them. But if you're on the top bunk, you got to put something over your face to be able to sleep. Ronnie says that really sucked. In the country I lived, the jail used to be on the top floor. Have you heard of Lockdown 23 and 1? I think I have, but I can't really recall exactly what it is, you know? And when you're not in your bed, it has to be made up like this, where everything is nice and neat. Everybody has a locker that they stick all their food. They might be under the bottom bunk, and you stick all your commissary in it. I mean, it's tragic, y'all. I mean, and in some of the newer jails, they look like this, where they're just roll out doors. The officer rolls the doors, and all of them open. He rolls the switch, all of them close. And here's the day area where you can play chess, write letters. You know, there's phones that you can go and video call now. You can have visits on the phones, things of that nature. And this would be in a prison, I would say. See, there's a lot of tables down here. Usually, if things pop off, this is where it pops off at down here in the day room. If this has another tier, I've heard of people being thrown over the top tier and landing down here and dying, cracking their heads open, you know, being shanked, all kinds of stuff. So, you know, there's different variations to the new Utah prison. So they have little cubicles right here, cubicles up here, but you still have no privacy. Everywhere you go, you got to strip down. You got to strip down all your clothes, men and women. Strip down your clothes, bend over, cough, lift up certain areas of your anatomy, and it's just terrible. And some of these are prison. So this would be a jail. Let's say that this is the outside. You can see. Let me see if I can pull up a bigger picture. Well, it's not going to let me do that. Well, you can see that right there, right? It's a basketball goal. You can play handball. You can walk around, or you can just get out and get some sunshine. His channel is Guild. I'll have to go check that out. A maximum security based on classification that had been given by the Department. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why you were asking what. The Norwegian think other Scandinavians very rehabilitative. Hi everyone. Hey Cash. Hi Chickbait. How are you doing? Hi to everybody who I haven't said hi to. I've been kind of going at this from the very beginning. And there's some that are, you know, this is a prison, obviously, so it's very confined. I don't know about most places, but I know Texas has taken the heavy or the free weights off the yards, and most everything is machine weights. Like they have, um, kind of like um, the Bowflex machines. You remember Bowflex in the day? They have those type of machines where you can't use the weights to hurt somebody with them or possibly kill them with the dumbbells um, or the weights. See, you get to walk around and you get to sit there with your buddies or whatever and BS or lean against the wall, play wall ball, whatever, just mostly to get some sun. This is the prison yard. Obviously, it's a lot more confined. I mean, different places have different variation depending on how they try to psychologically break you down. And this is a jail, Pennington County, South Dakota. So look how nice all that is. You can play wall ball, shoot hoops, you know, walk around. No, ma'am, I have not. I used to work in one, but I've never been to. I've never been an inmate. I can be cleared all the way up to the FBI. You know. So that's what the rec yard would look like, Rondi. And here's some women just sitting there waiting, either for a visit or they're on the exercise yard. They're just sitting around, having nothing to do but think. You know, nothing to do but think of what they've done wrong. And usually, this is the type of stuff they wear. These plastic or rubber looking clogs, or they're sliders. Sit around, read books. I mean, some people really use their time effectively, and some people do not. Some people, they go into these facilities and they've been in there so many times, they know the routine. They know how they're gonna utilize their time. See, this could be a dorm. You see how many bunk beds? There's one, two, three, four. One, two, three, four, five. So there's 10. And then there's day room. There's the toilets right here. And the showers are probably over here and over here. So everybody's watching you use the bathroom, watching you shower. No privacy. Good for y'all. Yeah, y'all made a good choice. Yeah, you got to improvise. I thought it was strange the inmates had cats and would carry them around. Yeah, there's some units that allow you to have cats and little dogs. Or there's some that um, they have rescue dogs and they teach the dogs how to be service dogs. I've been to prison. I was 20. I'm 45. I've never been again unless you mess with my babies. It's what everybody makes mistakes. I'm not ashamed. You're right. I mean, people make mistakes. They learn from their mistakes, and some people get out and never go back. You know, yeah, there are some people that, in order to be rehabilitated, you must have the habilitation first. If you don't have the basic coping skills of how to deal in society, you're not going to be able to be given new tools to add to that. So this was a Thanksgiving dinner for prison inmates, and you see they give ham, turkey, kind of trying to make it like the traditional Thanksgiving meal, which I think that's a good thing. I don't believe that you should strip people down totally of holidays and things like that because they're away from their families as is, and it's a tough time. But still, they should see. Here's another meal. There could be like baked beans and a hot dog bun, apples, coleslaw. I just saw something I wanted to show you. Let me go back here. Okay, this would be the kitchen area. This would be like them cooking up your food, serving it. So it's almost like the cafeteria ladies. You have the big old pans, you scoop it out with an ice cream scooper, and you have the tongs, and of course you ration out what you give out. So you have other inmates cooking your food and preparing your food. So, it's not like you have a choice unless you eat your commissary food. Yeah. The part I couldn't get used to, I mean, I'm sure I would have to if I went to prison, but it's stripping down. It's like having to strip everywhere you go. Like you go to this building, you have to strip off your clothes. They need to search you. Put your clothes back on. You go to this other building, it could be 10 steps away. They strip you again. It's like you're constantly stripping and getting dressed again. As you can tell, they use really big containers to make a big amount of food because they got to feed a bunch of people. See how the big old containers, to be preparing the food. And I've heard of some very disgusting things that inmates have done, and they've gotten caught for it. But they let's just say this: I quit eating the beans. I quit eating the mashed potatoes and gravy. I stopped eating all that because I heard that they were doing things to those two delicatessens. You know, use your imagination, Rondi. Use your imagination. One is white, one is brown. What do you think that they did with those? Same substance, color. Yeah, the old school plate do make it look worse. Chickbait, you want to come up here on panel? I've been to your channel a couple times. I've watched some of your stuff. Anybody that wants to come up on panel and discuss this with me, you're more than welcome. Just let me know and I'll drop the link. Because I think it's very interesting that whenever individuals are thinking about prison or jail, they have this mentality that it is the worst place, but sometimes individuals were living way worse on the streets than um, than they're living in there. Sometimes going to jail has saved people's lives. I know a lot of homeless individuals, they go in and out of jail every night just to have a place to sleep where they're safe. They release them in the morning and then, they're back out. They arrest them again. They put them back in jail. At least, their family knows that they're safe, at least for the night. And I think that's very, very tragic that you have to go to jail in order to have a good, safe place to sleep. Exactly. My cousin that lives in prison, he gets out and goes right back. He's institutionalized. Yes, exactly. I mean, it's tragic. But you know what you learn, and that the sad part is, um, even if you learn something different, it doesn't mean that you're going to use something different when you get out. You know, Because if you're used to living on the streets and somebody gives you a house and they give you a car and they give you everything, but you've never been able to hang on to these things, how are you going to know how to keep it? That's awesome right there. Hello, hello.
Can you hear me? Hold on a second. There's always feedback with the other tab open. So.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, welcome, welcome.
Yeah, no. Good to be here.
Well, what's your take on what I've been presenting today? I know you came in a little late, but I've basically been talking about the jail
Hmm.
and, I did a couple of streams on the prison and the messed up part about it all. Is there anything that you have to say about any of this?
Well, it came up in the chat. So, what jumps out at me is the population that doesn't really want to get rehabilitated. They want to go back, first of all.
Okay.
Um, 25 maybe years ago, I had a run in a domestic violence situation. They put me in jail, which is like really weird. And then but I was only there for like not even maybe a month, and only because if people don't know how that works, you're waiting to see a judge.
Right.
So every time they'd call you down for court, sometimes you don't get to see the judge. If you can't get bailed out, you're stuck there. So
Right.
I just wanted to say, like, the whole industry is like messed up in that way because there's a lot of people who shouldn't be sitting in jail, and
Yeah, so it becomes like a waiting game, right? So you sit there and you wait and you wait and you wait. Even
yep.
if you've been denied bail, you still have to wait for your trial date. So that could be,
Yes,
years
yes.
away,
The
years away.
judge was literally the judge said it was the funniest thing in the world. Why is she still here? So,
Right.
um, definitely it was like a low level offender kind of situation, but like I think a lot of Americans can relate to running into trouble or trying to get out of trouble. And I think a lot more people have been to jail than they might not be brave enough to talk about it. I mean, it took me years to be brave enough to talk about it. Because it's kind of embarrassing if you want to get better, and have a job. You don't want that ever to show up again.
Right, exactly. And the same thing that happened is the stigma that is placed on you. Oh gosh, you've been to jail.
Yeah,
Ugh.
that's all you need is one strike, and then you
And-
have to kind of do another waiting game and wait for time to pass and prove that you're not that person anymore or get it expunged. Like it's taken me 20 years to get my stuff erased. It's been a lot of work
right,
on top of every other thing I do. Like I've been a mother, I work, and in the background, it's like I don't like that part of my past. It's regrettable, you know.
yes.
So,
Well,
but
congratulations that you were able to overcome all that. Some people never overcome that. They get stuck from the very first time and they're not able to get out of the system.
yeah, and
Even
that's what
with
makes
the
me
minor offenses.
it made me sad when I was there. I didn't really want to talk to anybody, but you'd hear things anyway. And a lot of people were like, "I'd rather be in prison than county jail. Prison's going to be so much better." Like they were really hoping to go into prison, and I'm like, "This is so bizarre.
Right,
I just
right,
want to get out of here."
right, exactly. I've heard that too. I let me go ahead and plead. Let me go ahead and get out of here. Let me go ahead and go to prison. It's way better in there.
Yeah, and I was like, "No, thanks, but no thanks. I think I'm gonna work on this case and fight it," which I did.
Well,
Uh,
tell the chat a little bit about your channel. That way the mods can drop your channel link.
oh yeah, no, I mean it's not much of a channel in my opinion, but I did really like to do research like for school and stuff like that, and different freelance work that I used to do. So
Hmm.
I just I was captivated by the victims of the Idaho 4, I did a video before that on Sebastian Rogers. I just kind of like played around with the equipment, if you will, to see if I could get a channel started. So and have something different to talk about, because a lot of people talk about the same thing over and over again. I won't make a video just to make a video. That's why I don't post like every day.
Right.
I have other things I have to do, and I'm definitely not getting paid to do this. So it's
Right.
nice to do, though, you know. But anyone watching, you know, like my channel's not monetized or anything. I'm doing it just to tell stories and get information out there if possible, or at least inspire somebody to keep watching other videos and other channels, which I support the other channels, because I don't want to be that person who gets into this drama of, I don't like that channel, or I don't like this channel.
Right.
And people want to divide everybody up. And I'm like, we shouldn't have gatekeepers. You know?
Hey mods, if y'all could drop her channel link in the chat, please. It is Chickbait. If y'all could look for that and drop her link in the chat, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, are you in law enforcement? Or are you, or does it just?
I think that whole experience drove me away from law and legal stuff. A part of me wants to go back to school to become a lawyer, but I feel like that's like something I'm not sure I want to do. I just finished my first degree. I'm in grad school right now for museum studies. I'm like a historian, so I research a lot. I know how to find things. There's other channels that really do deep dives, but I don't have time to get into all the documentation, so I'm not going to copy that.
Right.
You know, like, I don't want to name drop them, but I think people know what I'm talking about. But
Yeah, I totally understand. I try to fly solo myself. I mean, there for a while, I was kind of, trying out other creators and stuff, but if their channel gets intermixed with something else, then that puts you in the mix, and it's easier just to stand alone sometimes. Have panel guests like I'm doing right now. Just different.
yeah, no, I put somebody on my show this morning, you know, just to try it out. I know when I first started, I did, you know, borrow people's clips. I wanted to get them more exposure, especially the smaller channels. But now I'm trying to like get away from using like recycling content too much.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, like, and I try not to be judgy. I mean, there's some questionable creators. I understand that people have their opinions, but if they have some good footage that I can't find anywhere else, I'm going to use their footage.
Right, right.
I'll still credit them, you know? I'll be like, I'm sorry, not
Right.
sorry. You know, this person
Yeah.
happened to have the right thing I was looking for. You know, I can't always do like a screenshot and talk about like nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. When I started my channel, I didn't even really know what direction I wanted to go. I know that I was interested in the Idaho 4Ks as well. And I would sit for an hour in front of the camera and just talk, and I thought to myself, this is boring. And if I'm bored, then I know darn well people that are watching this are not going to want to sit in front of watching me for an hour just talking. You need to spice it up a little bit, So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to admit I was pretty goofy today on my video. I made a commercial, like a parody, and I just threw it in there for no reason, just because I'm like, I can't be serious all the time.
That's cool. I mean, that's cool, and if I have any, not that you're asking for it, but if I have any suggestions, I would say just be yourself. Stay true to you, because,
Yeah.
When you start getting into trying to see somebody else's stuff and then you're kind of comparing your channel to their channel,
Mhm.
it's futile because you just don't know how they're getting their audience or what's going on with their audience.
Oh yeah, it baffles me. I really don't know how it all works, the logarithm and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think some channels, like, it's easy to be like, I think imitation's the highest form of flattery. So if people want to experiment and borrow ideas, I'm all for it, as long as you're not like totally copying somebody else.
Right.
You know, I'm still trying to find my zone. I know I haven't like really, I don't feel like I'm really locked in to where I should be at with it, but it gives me, like, being a smaller channel gives me the privilege to experiment more than a channel that's been around for, how long has your channel been around for?
Um, I think almost a year,
Yeah.
something like that.
But you're
Um, but
enjoying what you're
I
doing.
haven't really gotten a lot. I think with the subs started rising, probably I would say maybe 5 months ago.
Mhm.
Up until then, I had probably 3 people in chat
Oh,
in
no,
my
I
last
remember
stream.
I remember being there sometimes. You're like, "Wow, this goes up and down," and it was good to know that you were seeing the same kinds of things that I see. Sometimes there's people, and then sometimes there's, like, dead air, and it's like I wouldn't even do a premiere for the longest time, but now I test every video I can with a premiere if I have time to sit through it, you know?
Well,
Give
just stay true to you, and I'm sure your channel is gonna eventually take off. And
Yeah,
that's what the hardest part is, just understanding that and being patient. You
yeah,
know,
I just hope people aren't expecting too much from it. Like I said, I can't do this every day, and, but I
right?
am devoted to getting these cases out there and talking about them, and putting it
Yeah,
out there, I think, inspires other
well,
people to do the same thing, you know, and that's a good.
right, and it's fair to say, like you said a while ago, rehashing certain material after it's been talked about and talked about and talked about, unless you bring it in another element or another dimension, you're
Yes.
basically just getting on just to listen to yourself talk.
Yeah, something like that. I totally understand that, and that's where
Right.
I feel like I didn't wanna get trapped into a position where I'm like, share a clip from your show or something, then say nothing else about it. Like, I need to have something to say about it, you know, and, like,
Right.
contribute to that imaginary conversation, even if it's pre-recorded.
Well,
And
my streams are pretty long, so there's a lot of stuff in them. I don't
well,
know if you watch regularly, but there.
I've taken 2-hour videos and chopped them right to the part that I need, and that takes time. And I don't
Yeah,
know if people realize that. It's not like I'm just pulling stuff out randomly. So
yeah.
I'll watch the content fully, find a way to, you know, download the part that I need and trim it, and definitely gotta remember to give people the credit too, you know?
Yeah. See, I don't know. I haven't done any of that because I really don't use other people's stuff. Not
Oh,
because not because I don't want to. I
mhm.
just don't. I mean, I don't want to. It's They say it's cool, but then if they get mad at you, then all of a sudden it's an issue.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I get a little bit paranoid that maybe I've upset somebody by using their content. Like, I don't, like, really ask first, and I'm trying to be more polite about that, and
Yeah.
it's a learning process. So, I don't use other people's footage as much as I did when I started,
Yeah.
but I did wanna come from a place where maybe somebody doesn't know the story, and if it's the first video they're gonna see about it, I'd like to put something in there to show that other people are talking about it, but now that,
Yes.
you know, I think it's important, um, I think it's important to be like a true crime community and really be a community instead of driving everybody away and pulling people apart and going, "I don't like how you do your show," or "I don't like how you" fine, then don't watch it.
Right.
But you don't need to complain about a person, just don't watch them.
I just believe that my impression of what true crime was about is
Mhm.
kind of like today's show. I was breaking down the jail process,
Yeah,
breaking,
I'm glad I caught it. I'm glad I caught it. It got my attention immediately, so
and that's what I thought the whole community was about. I thought that you would hear different cases every day, or that somebody would be breaking down different things to continue to learn or teach somebody, and that's
yeah,
not how it is at all.
that's why when I started with the Idaho 4, I went person by person. Each person that was lost was important equally, and I just tried to, like, take something from their story to humanize it.
Hmm.
Because all I heard over and over again was like, what's that old phrase? If you want something done right, try to do it yourself.
Yeah, I mean,
Focus on the
Yeah,
video.
it sounds like you're on the right track. I mean, I appreciate you coming into chat
Yeah,
and
I'm
being
gonna
a
have to get
positive
going in a second here. I can probably stay in chat, but I got 2 cats, I've got
person.
laundry to
Okay.
do, just life.
Well, anytime you want to come up and you're in the chat or you have something to say or share on what I'm talking about, just let me know in the chat and I'll let you up here. I don't have a problem with that.
Oh, no, thanks so
I
much.
share, I share, I share very well, so
Yeah,
thank
no,
you so much for coming up here and good
thanks
luck with your
for having me.
channel.
Yeah, no, thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you. All right. Her link is in the chat. Thank you guys. And if we have other creators in here like Heather, if you'd please drop her link for her channel. And if there's any other creators that you know of that have a channel, please be kind enough, mods, to drop their link for their channel. Okay? I'd appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chick Bait. I will go and watch some more of your videos. I mean, I was watching one and I was having a good time, just like you said. Your videos are very different in some areas, especially like you said you like to have a good time. I like that about people when they're not so serious that they're afraid to be themselves and break character, that they're up here on the panel and they can't laugh, they can't joke. It seems so forced. Like if you say something off color, it's almost like they look at you like, "Oh my God, did you really just say that?" So yeah, I appreciate that you're in the true crime community, and I wish you the best. So, moving on from the jail, I wanted to, I wanted to show a couple, a couple of pictures that I didn't get to show last night, and I think it's safe to show these right now because there's not a lot of people in the chat, so it'd be safe unless we get bombarded with Idaho people in here, which I don't mind, but I want to talk about these photos that I have here, and I want y'all's opinion on it because I did a video the other day and it was just an upload, but I want your opinion on it live. So let me pull up a couple photos that I have here. Let me put on some music while I'm looking for this and take myself off the stage. Don't run off, please.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets, yeah, I'll tie up my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt. Been stabbed in the back bed, I'll show you what happens. Pass me the mic and I'll show you with action. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these
Okay, I'm back. What y'all think of that song? You're gonna sue for what? Oh, I'm gonna huge issues. Yeah, that song is pretty good. So I talked about this photo. I've talked about it more than once on many occasions, but never really on a live where I could have feedback, okay? And hopefully um yeah, I'm back. I'll leave this photo and then I'll just leave the music playing and y'all can talk amongst each other. So I've asked multiple people, and I want you to have an open mind here, okay? Do you believe that this is a piece of clothing that could have been from the crime of November 13th, 2022? This is in no way guilt or innocence, okay? So let's not even go there. Let's not go on any other arena than what I just asked you. Do you believe that this could have been evidence on November 13th, 2022? What do y'all think? Because this was discovered outside the residence on the other side of the tree line. So it's very possible that I believe this could have been some evidence that was not talked about. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But to me, it looks like something that was either taken off, either somebody dropped it in a hurry, or it was just disposed of right there. And to me, I would ask, what would be the purpose of it being there, especially when the perpetrator was identified as being all dressed in black? See, if it was a blue hoodie, if it was a red hoodie, if it was a purple hoodie, if it had a unicorn on it, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I'd say, well, there's no way. But the fact that it's black, I have a problem with the whole thing. Kane, I don't know what you're talking about. We have a problem, 12 gauge? I don't know what you mean. But hey, Jeff H. He says, I see Winnie the Pooh's honey pot. I don't know where you see that, but okay. But that picture right there has always intrigued me to the point where I have to ask that question. And I've asked it more than once. If it's not, and here's another picture to show you that it wasn't cropped from another thing and just placed there like that to make it look like it's a piece of clothing. Like right here, it says Moscow, Idaho, Sunday. So there it is. This guy is photographing it. This guy is looking for evidence. This guy's looking for evidence. It's kind of a blurry picture, but you can still see it. Somebody said it looked like the scarecrow jumped out of its clothing and ran off. I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was hilarious, man. That like made my day. But the fact that all these leaves have fallen off these trees and this is here and the house is right here and this is the little area where the footprint was found because the couch is over here in this area. It just makes it very suspicious to me. I mean, does it mean anything? Probably not. Am I crazy? Probably. But, I just thought I would ask you guys. Yeah, I mean, to me it looks black, but with the leaves and everything, it could be a lighter color, it could be blue, it could be, it could be any color. You said to you it looks maroon and blue. Okay, I can go with that. So I was just saying that in order to put this out there, you always have to ask that question: is what did this come from? How come this isn't spoken on more? You know, or was it something that was found that possibly could be discussed in the trial? Yeah, that's true. That's true. There is a difference. But the only reason I'm bringing it up outside the home is because the perpetrator ran outside the home to get into a vehicle, supposedly. This is what we've been told. It's not that I made that up. You know what I mean? Jeff H says I'm kind of seeing maroon and blue also. Well, of course, that looks maroon and blue from that perspective, you know. But this is blue to me. This coat right here is blue. This one's blue. This is black. This is greenish. I think it's the filter of the camera and the blurriness of it. Cause look at the writing; it's blurry as well. So it could be distorted. You know, it could be the copy of a copy of a copy. So you just never know. I mean, I thought that I would discuss that with you guys and see what you thought because I've discussed it before and you know, I've gotten many theories from it. And there's another picture that I talked about not long ago. What's your thought on this? You remember there was a red car that was being gone through that supposedly at the grub truck it had picked up Kaylee and Maddie. Um, what's your thought on that? I agree with you, Cash. I do. I agree with you. That's why when I show stuff, I show it in a context where it is what it is. That's what I'm showing. It's not put in another arena where people can put all kinds of other interpretation to it. Like this car, this was actually parked at one of the sororities or fraternities. It was actually at the fraternity because I looked it up in that basketball goal in the background. I looked up the fraternities in that area and I finally found the one which it was. And this red car was parked out front and they were tearing it apart. And since they were all dressed in white like that, I kind of figured were they going through it? Because this is the car that supposedly was taken apart, gone through, and smelled like bleach. So, you know, I just thought those two pictures or those three pictures um were really interesting. And if they have anything to do with the crime later on that we'll hear about in the trial, um, I think that it'll be interesting to see. So that's all I have really for you today because I got started late and I wanted to make sure that I did this stream so that anybody that came into the 11 o'clock got a chance to see the stream. Mainly Rondi, Cash, and the rest of you that came in after the fact, you know. So let me put some of these chats up here and see what you guys are talking about. Exactly. The hood looks blue. Yeah. I've thought about that also. That he possibly went out the front door, but I don't know. I felt he came in the back door out the front. That's why they're measuring the tire prints. Understand that. Let me play one more thing that I played last night in the video. Instead of you guys going for 3 hours trying to find it, let me play it for you guys. It was on a Reddit post. It was a 3D recreation. That's for Jeff H right there. We were tired last night, and I said that, and he's like, "What's a 3D recreation?" And I was like, "Oh, that's recreation, not recreation." So this individual made a 3D recreation of the crime inside the house. So I'm going to show it to you guys. It's pretty interesting, but it goes really quickly. So there's a part, there's a couple of, there's a part, a couple parts in here that I believe are not the most accurate based on my interpretation of the PCA, but I could be wrong. So here we go. Let me show it to you guys. Let me get myself down at the bottom. Here we go. That was the DoorDash. This is supposed to be Xana. Ryan. Okay. Like I said, it was very quick. What do y'all think about that? Yeah. Recreation. Recreation. I was half asleep at that point. You know. Exactly. But the part that it's where she went in, where Jana got the DoorDash, went into the kitchen, and then went back into the bedroom. And at that point, that's when the individual walked in the back slider, walked upstairs, looked into Kaylee's room, and there was just a dog. I believe that Kaylee was still in the bed, but that door was locked. I believe that he went into Maddie's room because the door was open, and he went in there first, and Kaylee heard that and said, "There's some," or he tried Kaylee's door, and that's when she shouted out, "There's someone here." He went across the hall to Maddie's room, did what he did, and that's when Kaylee came out because she heard the ruckus. The dog could have been barking at that point. She got ambushed, taken into the room, and happened what happened. And then the rest of it is what the PCA states. So I don't know. It's something to think about. I thought that was a great 3D recreation of it, recreation of it. You know. Yeah, we talked about that last night for 3 hours. So if you'd go and watch last night's live, you'll see a lot of these questions discussed and theorized and gone through. So maybe you guys can get a different understanding, or maybe you can even leave a comment of your own understanding on something that we may have not even thought about. Because that's all this is for, just for you, the audience. It's not for the creators. At least not for me. It's not for me. So thank you so much for coming on today and hanging with me for as long as you have. If you haven't become a member yet, I do have a members only stream that I do. I suggest that maybe you go in there and become a member so that you get the perks of members only scenarios. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. If you haven't gone and checked out Heather Fitzgerald or Chickbait, please go to their channels and check out their stuff. It's worth going over there and checking it out. There's a lot of great minds in this true crime community. Learn to filter out the ones that are about true crime and the ones that are really about other things. So, well, I'm not, asking for money or anything like that. But whenever you're financially able, and if you believe that my channel's worth the membership, please be a member. If not, then continue being a subscriber. It's free, no big deal. So you guys, thank you so much. Y'all have a awesome rest of your weekend. I do a Sunday Serenity Sunday, which will be tomorrow sometime. I'm not quite sure yet, but be looking for the alert. If not, be looking for the live notification that I'm live. That Serenity Sunday is totally different than any true crime that I do. It's mostly about life skills and trying to get refocused mentally, physically, spiritually, and trying to start your week off in a different perspective. So check it out. If you haven't checked any of them out, go ahead and check it out. I hope to see y'all soon. Y'all take care. Cue that music.